Building my practice before you guys was really tough. I've tried other ad agencies and I've received everything from like the specials for the walk-ins and whatnot and everything, but like the quality of patients was all over the place. It was literally people who were just looking for a deal, so they didn't even know it was a chiropractic office at one point. They're like, "Isn't this massage or something?" And I was just like, "This is crazy." All the way from, "Hey, I'm just looking for this one adjustment for cheaper," basically, compared to everywhere else. So it was really difficult to transition into talking about neurology or applied kinesiology or building any type of lasting foundation with them. So it was even harder to sell them on any type of like package or any type of longevity or like holistic approach. It was like so many dots to connect, and it was all done like even in 2 sessions. Like it's a lot of information. So we went from that, and then we've also had like people run Facebook ads, but then because I'm a small practice, I'm basically by myself without a front desk. As soon as the ads hit, I didn't have time to like call, and let's say they did hit and then I would just finish with a patient. Now I'm going from like doctor mode to like sales mode and pitching and like screening and really doing everything else. So it really fatigued my process. Basically, it was very like they're really big hats to change and everything like that. So it was really difficult to do so.
Yeah.
And to kind of keep a like consistent tone to kind of like go forward with.
Yeah. For sure. No, for sure. I think that's big. What did it feel like building your practice on your own outside of like the other experiences you've had? Like, how did that actually like feel trying to do that?
So in the beginning, it was, I mean, it was tough all the way through, just because it's like I'm wearing all the hats. First point of contact is me, last point of contact is me, the sales is me, the front desk, everything is me basically. So it's coherent, but it's also kind of like, it's a lot of like switching to like, okay, I'm in this zone now. Now I'm gonna switch to this zone, and like how to talk to the patient basically. So there was a lot of that, but I didn't think too much of it because starting out I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be hard, so it's fine. But that's kind of the trap that I kind of fell into, where I was just kind of like, okay, well, it's just hard for the sake of being hard, not hard because it's like building and growing and everything like that. And to be honest, I didn't really realize that until after starting to work with you guys, because now it's like we have a system, we have a pipeline where it's like, okay, I can focus on growing this, and I can focus on polishing certain aspects of my practice, of presenting, of like wording things, presenting it in the way that's less abrasive and makes more sense to the patient now. So like basically it's just kind of polishing my skill set a lot more, because a lot of these other like sales, a pipeline and everything like that, I didn't even have to think of.
Yeah. No, that's big. What are some of like how did that negatively impact like you kind of being on your own, having to focus on like there's a crazy amount of stuff too when building your business, right? Like having to focus on everything and still not having like the results you were looking for. How did that impact like your own like motivation to continue, and then also the people around you?
Oh, it affected everything. I mean, so having to learn more things at once slows things down. In business, it's just slow growth is pretty much death, right? So I mean, like it affects income, which affects stress levels to be able to keep the lights on, being able to pay rent, all this kind of stuff. And when you're stressed about making the sale, stressed about covering bills, it takes you further and further away from the real reason why I'm here, which is to provide good quality care. So you take that home with you because that's your livelihood, and affects everybody in your life, your relationships, people you live with, your friends, family. You're always stressed out. So basically it's just like a massive ripple effect everywhere, not just in the practice, but within the practice too. How I present the information starts to become a little bit more dire, and that definitely works against you, because it can sound desperate to a certain degree, or you're like, I really need to make this sale, or really, like you need to come see me, not because you need it, because I need it. These lights
you need to see me so I can pay. Yeah, that's never something you want, that's for sure. And is there anything that sticks out to you, like experiences that you viscerally remember as like, dang, like that was like key point in my life, that was like turning point in, wow, like I need to do something different, something needs to change about my life, this is not sustainable? Is there any memory you have of like things like even past couple years where they're really standing out to you as being like really hard? Could you like
Yeah.
walk me through?
Really, it's just covering the overhead, paying bills and everything like that. Paying the overhead, internet bill, like just rent, just normal overhead, like covering your phone line and everything like that. That slowly starts to add up, and you're seeing it on your credit card bill, and you're like, okay, well, this is chopping up, and then all of a sudden interest becomes part of your overhead too, because then that starts adding too.
Yeah.
And like there'll be times where it's just like, oh, okay, you have a good month, and you're like, great, I need to keep this in here and never touch it, just in case of like, I have a slow couple of months or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like having to constantly live in fear of just kind of like, oh, am I going to be able to cover? I can't even save. I can't even, if I have a good month, I can't even take it to pay down the credit cards more or anything like that. You need to kind of essentially have a safety net, because credit cards can wait, your rent doesn't. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, it was a long time of that. And then it wasn't until fairly recently where I was kind of like, I had a good month way back when. And then over the next couple months after that, it was just kind of like, all right, it's just draining it. That's never a comfortable feeling. And it's just kind of like a flow. It's just kind of like a slow drowning, slow down.
It's survival. It's not, you're definitely not thriving or growing.
Yeah. Way sense of form.
Yeah. Can you walk me through like just like your experience, like first start, like not even starting, like when you first heard about who we were, like through, like how'd you find out about us, like your thoughts on us initially, like throughout the process of getting to know us, that kind of deal?
Yep. I thought you reached out, but apparently it's someone else. Maybe your brother's in charge of like social media. But
Jojo does all of our,
Nice. I don't think I've met Jojo yet, but I guess I met him first. So Jojo reached out to my business account, and I was just kind of like, I get like 1,000 of these a day. It's just like, oh, something's wrong with your website. There's a follower. You can, like optimize this, that, and the other. And then I was just kind of like, you know what? I don't know which one's going to work, and I don't necessarily believe that this one is going to work. But if I don't try it, then, it's basically a slow death right now. So it's either I die slowly or quickly right now. Might as well take a chance and everything. So that's when he told me about that special that you guys are doing. You guys were like $27, and then you guys sent out the text message to all my contacts. And I'm like, I don't really know if this is going to work, but let's give it a try. So gave you guys my patient list and everything. You guys shot out the mass text. There's 0 conversions. Nothing worked.
Yeah, we had very few patients. For context, we talked about this before you even set it up. It was like, hey, let's see what happens here.
Totally. And it was funny because when I saw it, my first thought was like, this looks spammy as hell. But I was like, all right, I don't know marketing and everything. Let me just let it run, try it, whatever. And I probably had 10 patients text me like, hey, your account got hacked. So-and-so is trying to pitch some kind of weird special or something like that. I'm like, actually, that's me. And they're like, really? This thing looks like even the emojis look spammy and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I let you guys know. Obviously, by the time we jumped on our call, you were like, hey, it was not the way we're expecting. Here's your refund and everything like that. And that left a good taste in my mouth. It was just no bullshit. You just kind of owned up to it. And I also get that that's hard, because it's kind of like most people are like, you guaranteed 10 patients and I got not that or whatever the case is. And but basically after that, I was kind of expecting to get pitched on the upsales. It's like, oh, if we did that with this, then can you imagine what we could do together, blah, blah, blah. So I was already kind of gearing up for that. So I was basically just trying to learn more about what you guys do. And honestly, there was a ton of things that kind of gave me signals to give you guys a try. And first one was your guys' system. It's just kind of like, I've done Facebook ads before. I've used other companies and they've just kind of fallen flat on their face. A ton of hits, like not good conversions, all that kind of stuff like before. Yeah. So you guys mentioned that you have your own VAs, that you guys reach out to the patients and then basically gather all the pertinent information and have that whole thing set up. So I was like, okay, that's great. And that basically makes it so that I don't have to do as much hat switching or anything like that. Yeah. And after working with you guys, just to kind of add to the experience, I literally don't hear from you guys unless it's full information from the patient and time slot ready to go. And it's just like, literally, it's just kind of like a hands-off experience, which is extremely nice for a small business owner, me working by myself. And you guys also had like a ton of other stuff where it's kind of like, well, you know, like we help make it easier this way, that way. We have this. You're not asking me to do a ton of legwork in terms of like, oh, you know, like give us a picture or new content every other week or something like that. So it's just kind of like extra hours on my day. Something that was really interesting was you guys actually took the time to listen to how my practice is. Because other ad companies, they just basically assume that we're just all Kraken type of chiropractors, and you know, they definitely get that point across in the ads, and that's why there's such a big mismatch when the patients come in. Because when we're trying to tell them like, hey, we do something a little bit different, or we do a little bit more depth in X, Y, and Z, they're like, huh? There's a communication breakdown. And you guys did a very good job, like on the actual ad itself, to frame it in a sense where wellness makes more sense, as opposed to come get your neck back for neck pain, back pain with the afterthought of wellness type of situation. I've actually had a few patients that came in inquiring about the package already. Like I was in the middle of explaining what chiropractic was, and they're like, okay, yeah, so how does this play into the package? And I'm just like, not only do I not have to pitch you the package, you're asking about it, but it's this world of difference in quality. You know, all that being said, great performance from you guys and everything, but ultimately I think what persuaded me to give you guys a try was just kind of like, when I sat down with you, I gave you my true, real concerns. And like, you go through your drop-down list where you're just trying to get to the real objections and everything like that. And basically I was just kind of like, look, you're busy, I'm busy, we're going to do this thing. Let me just tell you exactly what's on my mind. And basically you were able to address those and just kind of met me halfway at wherever I was, at my comfort level, at the same time also still making it fair for both parties and everything like that. As a business owner, drowning in debt and stuff like that is very scary to have to trust in. Kind of extend that first. So basically that's what really drove the nail into it as far as I wanted to give you guys a try. Very, very glad, very satisfied that I did so. And not only are you guys amazing at what you guys do, but you guys are also super dope too. So like having our bi-weekly meetings and everything, it's always fun. Look forward to.
Well, let's go. No, I love to hear that. I really appreciate that. That's so kind. Can you walk me through like where are we at now? Like where have things gone as far as new patients, your practice in general? Can you walk me through the actual numbers there?
Yeah, absolutely. If I were to estimate, before I was probably selling a package one every couple of months, because my patient flow would be coming from referrals and everything like that. So I'd probably get, you know, a referral if I were to space them out evenly, like every other month, maybe once every month, something like that. So the repetition was actually low. Working with you guys, I think the first week you had 8 patients scheduled. So number one, the reps, the amount of tries that the office gets to convert is significantly higher. So basically you just got my entire year in a month, or like in that first week. So right off the bat, like we're selling pretty much 8 months to a year's worth of packages in the first week. Right off the bat there. So I mean, like the numbers are just astronomical already. But more importantly, it's the quality of the leads, because everybody is coming in, and best case scenario, they're already asking about the program. Worst case scenario, they're really just kind of like, hey, I've never had chiropractic before, but I'm trying to change my life through this X, Y, and Z for whatever reason. They're trying to move into a new phase of their life or whatever the case is. And basically it's just kind of like, they may not be coming in for the package or for chiropractic, but they're coming in for wellness. And that's the big mental shift, where instead of people coming in to treat something, which then already puts them into a mind of like, okay, as soon as this pain is gone, I'm gone type of situation, to like a long-term, long-standing goal type of approach or mentality already. So it's very, very easy to bridge with philosophy. And through that, even for the patients that don't convert, it's for very real logistical reasons, as opposed to sort of like they're not getting a bait and switch type of situation.
Yeah.
They're very qualified when they come in.
Yeah. Let's go. Where are you at now? Unless there's other specific numbers you have on that you can share.
No, that's pretty much it. If I were to, like, the actual numbers and everything, I'd probably have to go and look. But generally, I want to draw attention to the percentage here because it's literally
exactly 8 to 12x. Yeah, let's go. That's amazing. How did that feel? Were you like super surprised when like you saw the first booking and you're like, oh dang, cool, maybe this is a good thing?
Absolutely. Like I was just like, so the first one I was like, okay, I got one. And then
the doubter into the believer.
I mean, I'll see it. I believe when I see it, man. And I definitely saw it. So it kind of got to the point where I was a little bit overwhelmed to a certain degree because I was like, whoa. And it definitely took me a few times to kind of get used to pitching because I haven't the initial appointment for that many reps in close vicinity. And it really actually kind of gave me a real-time way to adapt my pitch and spiel because then I come up with an objection or run into an objection. It's actually coming up often enough to be like, hey, this is a thing. This is a problem. This is something that we can deal with. Versus the last time I came up with this objection was like 3 months ago. Oh, it must be a fluke. It must literally just be these two people do not have the funds at this very moment, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Whatnot. And but yeah, so it's definitely helped in every aspect. But when it really hit was once again going back to the quality of patients. Like it wasn't just the first or second one. It was every single patient that came for the right reason. So therefore, we're right on the right page, right off the bat.
I want to give you some props too, because like, to be honest, regardless of how patients come in, I know not every single one was like coming in like ready to buy. Like there's objections you've handled, and like your willingness to dive in and like, hey, I want to learn the system. I want to learn how to convert more of these patients, how to get people more bought in, how to help address the concerns, or get the real hesitations people are having, so that we can actually help them with their health, and not just like have them like sitting giving us smoke screens or giving us other things. Like you've been like super intentional diving into that stuff. So like that comes on you. Like you put in the work to make it succeed, to make it work. And so that's been awesome. It's just awesome to be a part of. And it's going to be, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I was going to add on that I forgot to mention actually. That is also another piece that is extremely valuable in the sense where it's just kind of like you're not only bringing in patients, but like you're also acting as a team to kind of coach me on whatever I need help on. And I'm definitely someone that needs to learn from experience. So like I've heard how to handle these objections from like all the Alex Hormozy videos from like years ago when I was listening to it for sales and stuff like that. But it's like none of it matters because there's not a need for it. So when I come into contact with objections, then all of a sudden I go back to you guys and I'm like, hey, I told you. I know you told me, but I actually need to hear it now. So like you guys do a great job like tying it all together and making it make sense and having a system to implement it. There's all these sales techniques and everything like that, but floating in space, it's very difficult to actually apply them. So having the one-on-one coaching, the group coaching and everything like that, where we can bring in our questions, our examples, and all that kind of stuff really makes a big difference. Like, I mean, earlier we were speaking, but just changing how I present the price of the package instantaneously allowed me to close on my next 2 patients that were having reservations about price. So it's kind of, instead of it being like, oh, boom, this is what it is, take it or leave it, it's like, 2 options for the secret option of the third, and, allowing fluidity in that conversation to happen. And that just kind of like significantly increases the success rate if the goal of the patient is really to pursue care. Because I've also run into some weird stuff where it's like, All right, it'd be easier if you just said no.
Okay, yeah. No, that's awesome. You're gonna be leading classes soon. Yeah, this is great. What would you tell someone that's like watching this right now? That's kind of like, hey, looking to grow their practice, that kind of deal, like about taking. They're a little unsure about taking the next step.
Don't do it. Now that I have your attention, the way I would say it is you'll get really good quality from you guys delivering from ads as well as calling the patient, qualifying them, and then bringing them in. But I think you would receive the most benefit if you yourself are into a wall almost. And the reason why I say that is because at that point, it's not come feed me, it's let's learn how to fish
Yeah.
type of situation. So it's just kind of like, yeah, you're feeding me now by feeding me fish, but you're also showing me how to fish as well too. And ultimately, those skills need to be learned from a teacher. They can't just be taught, because if I don't want to learn them, there's
Yeah.
version of everything. But really, that's where the biggest impact makes. You're coming into contact with these real life situations, and then you're also running into these real life objections and problems, and then you're actually having a live coach that is bringing you through not only, oh, when they say this, you say this, but also how to kind of meld it into your personality, your perspective, your way of presenting, your philosophy, no matter how you're practicing. Because that's the number one thing that I ran into most as a chiropractor that does low volume and does applied kinesiology, is it's not the most common technique in the world. So most ad companies, they don't really know how to adapt what they do to something so specific. But you guys do an amazing job doing so without ever asking me to change what I do, how I speak, or anything like that.
Except the accent, the British accent you do now. No, I'm just kidding.
That is the number one thing that causes my conversion, the British accent. Oh man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you so much for diving in and sharing this. So if you're watching this, definitely just schedule a time. Let's chat. Let's walk through how we might be able to help you. If we can even help you in the first place. If you need more new patients, you need more patients that are quality, and then you also are like, hey, I'm backed into that corner. I need to do something for my business. I need to make sure that we can actually grow from here, and got to pay rent. Got to make sure that you're not stagnant or you're not continuing to lose money every month. Book a call, because the absolute worst thing that happens is like, hey, this isn't a fit right now, but here this